Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the HireMyVA Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank, without breaking your bank, which is the most important bank. And I'm Dave Braun, and I'm here with my partner, great friend, bosom buddy, Larry Broughton. Larry,
Bosom buddy.
Bosom
Reminds
buddy.
me of
Remember that
TV
show, Bosom Buddies? Who would have?
Yes.
Who would have ever thought Tom Hanks would have ascended to the stardom he's got?
Crazy, right? Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Well, how are you, Dave?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good to see you. Thank you for being in my life. Thanks for being a great friend.
Yes.
You.
Thank you. Thank you also. We have some good times together. All right.
Yes. All right.
Well, speaking of good times, let's talk about a flashpoint.
Another TV show.
Bosom Buddies, good times. Yeah, that was a fun one. All right. Let's get down to business.
All right.
You ready for this one?
Yes.
All right. So here's a question. From a recent flashpoint, we asked the question at the beginning, do you really pick the team or does the pick, let me back up. Do you really pick the team or does the team pick you? That's the question at the beginning of the flashpoint. Now, let me read the whole thing to provide some context. And
pause right there. Some people may not know what flashpoints is.
Okay.
A flashpoint is from this book from several years ago that you helped me get across the finish line. And they're basically about 130 word daily missives to get you thinking.
Oh yeah.
So that's what a flashpoint is. So,
okay.
And if you want to get it, shameless plug, you can go to store.ugozi.com to pick it up, or you can go to amazon.com and get it the next day.
That's not shameless. That was an awesome plug.
All right,
This
so
is
go
our
ahead.
podcast. We do what we want.
We can do what we want.
That's
yes.
right. All right. Well, okay.
So do we pick the team or does the team pick us?
Yeah. So let me read what it says.
All right.
Or what we say in it. It's a delicate balance between being of service to those we lead and them being of service to our goals and expectations. The question becomes, who really keeps our team going? We're often a pillar and seen by most as the key component to our highly functioning team. But without the team members, we don't have anyone to lead. And a one-legged stool will quickly tip over. So while it may seem that we're the one holding it all together, remember that without the respect and participation of our team, we won't go very far. And when they pick us, not because of money or security, but because they believe in us, life can be oh so sweet. So here is the question. How can you ensure your team will pick you over and over again? What say ye, Larry?
Yeah, boy, I was deep that day, man. Well, here's the dealio. It starts from that word, the team.
Yeah.
I hear it. One of the things that drives me nuts, Dave, I'm on all kinds of different online forums for managers, leaders, owners, hotel operators. And one of the things that is like nails on a chalkboard for me, because I know it is for a lot of team members, is when a manager says, my employees.
Oh, yeah.
Or they even think they're being cool and they say, my team. Like they own these people. And we don't. Most states in this country are at will employment, and they could walk any day of the week, without giving you any kind of notice, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be respectful of them. I do know this, that there have been times in my career when I've been really clear on the vision of the organization. I was really clear on what type of team I wanted to build. And more than the position I was trying to fill, I was selling, here's where we're going as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do a casting call, basically looking for rock stars to fill a particular position, like senior leadership positions. And people were choosing us, like, hey, I want to work for you. Not just because they needed a job. They could have gotten a job anywhere, but they really subscribed to the vision that we had in the organization. They really subscribed to the culture that we were trying to build in the organization. Now, depending on where you are in the economic cycle, it's easier sometimes than others to find these people.
Yeah.
But if you go through a couple of cycles here, people really do pick you. You know, there's a mantra out there, and it's a little bit, not a mantra, there's a saying out there that's a little bit harsh, is that people don't quit their jobs, they quit their managers.
Yeah.
Ugh, that hurts sometimes because people will quit our organization too, you know? And so what I have to do is like, okay, was what part of their leaving is due to my failings, like not giving them what they need? Were they not professionally developed enough? Were they not given enough freedom? Were they not given enough encouragement? Were they not given enough compensation? Did I not offer them a bright enough future? What is it? Because sometimes people outgrow their organization, and that's okay too, right? But it is a time that we have to stop and reflect. So I do think that people need to understand that in the U.S., it's not everywhere on the world, but we are blessed here in the U.S. that for the most part, people get to pick what team they're going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could talk about that first, and then talk about like what do we need to provide in order for them. So I wanted to make sure I got that preamble out of the way first, though. Is that all right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So that's one of the reasons why in our program, right? What do we start with? The prepare section. And we start with your vision and your mission, you know, and your core values, right?
Yeah.
You got to know yourself and know where you're going to go to be able to attract folks who are looking at, everybody's looking for the paycheck to a certain extent, of course.
Yeah.
But you want to provide more than that, right? You want to provide that vision, like you said, so people know where you're going and they can subscribe to that themselves.
Yeah. So the question is, how do we assure that they choose us over and over again?
Yeah.
There's a variety of ways. Then we'll make sure that they're fairly compensated. People usually start there, but right now, that is not the primary reason people stay with their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure that you're treating people with dignity and respect as well. Make sure that they are being professionally developed. That's really important. In fact, 68% of the American workforce feels like they're not being professionally developed, and so they go work someplace else. Most people are looking for a positive, upbeat work environment in today's environment. More and more, particularly among Gen Zs, Gen Xers, and millennials, they're looking for a sense of mission. Mm-hmm. That is the organization that they're working with doing good in the world.
Right.
That's really important to a lot of people. And how do you do that? Boy, we could talk about that all day long. But just doing little volunteer things as an organization is one way to keep people inspired to do that. What else? Treating people fairly, not the same. Don't treat everybody the same, but treating everyone fairly is really important, I think. Many people are looking for diverse workforces, and I'm not talking about just diversity in ethnicity and diversity in sexuality. I'm talking about diversity of ideas. People want to be challenged. Most people that I know, Dave, top performers, aren't looking for the rote. They do the same thing day in and day out over and over again. They like a little bit of variety in their lives, right? So all of this, though, comes with, you don't know this unless you actually communicate with your team, right? You and I have done enough coaching at this point together where we've seen people who come to us and have horror stories about the organizations that they've been in the past, where a manager or a leader or a business owner just treats them like a frickin' indentured servant at best, right? And absolutely disrespectful and belligerent and tyrannical at worst, you know? You don't, and all those things you can generally control. You know, there are TV shows that are built on this, following people, like some of these reality shows. Like one of them that comes to mind, I was watching on the plane back from a flight a few days ago, was Kitchen Nightmares, where Gordon Ramsay goes in, and some of the restaurant owner was keeping the tips from the wait staff because he felt like he was paying them enough. So he was taking their tips from them, and he fired somebody because he he thought that she kept a $5 bill, pocketed a $5 bill that was on one of the tables. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and they would, and it was just a hostile work environment. Toxic was the word they used.
Yeah.
But don't do that stuff. Don't
Yeah.
do that. So I think there's a lot. There's a handful of ways that if we do these things, catch people doing things right. There are a handful of ways to help people choose you over and over again. If you do those things, Dave, that we had listed, right? Sense of mission, catch people doing things right, offer performance reviews, have people work in their strengths, all those types of things, and they still don't choose you, then there's a better place for them to feel free and fly without you. But we are not going to satisfy every team member that we hire and expect them to be around for 5 years. A lot of industries have 100% turnover each year. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
You know,
And if they don't choose you and you've done, what you think you can do, then like you said, it's okay. It's okay. Use that opportunity as, something to learn from. If you actually
yeah,
think you've got a rock star that they're going somewhere else for whatever reason, I mean, that's why we've got, the exit interview template. It's up to
sure,
you. You gotta know that and try to figure out, okay, what can I do?
yeah,
What can I do
yeah.
better? Yeah.
In my hotel company, I used to say that we're an incubator for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And then it would piss me off when we attract entrepreneurs and they'd go somewhere else after a while. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't have it both ways, dude. But
I
it does
know.
hurt. Like, loyalty is very important to me.
Mhm.
And it does personally hurt when somebody leaves the organization. I admit it. I'm not perfect. I'm flawed as well. And sometimes we just can't offer, the compensation package that someone needs or deserves after a period of time. So I understand it. I don't like it necessarily.
Yeah.
But I do understand it. And I would just remind folks that if you're a business owner or you're a leader or you're a manager of folks, you have a moral obligation to treat them with dignity and respect.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
and just to, build a positive work environment. I think that's really important. And if you just do that and you ask questions of your team members, do you have the tools to do your job? How could we improve? And you're
Right.
not just walking around and doing edicts, do this, do that. You're more likely to shallow or lessen the team member turnover, because that's really important. Now, if I'm going to be your mentor or coach for a minute, you want to limit the amount of turnover you have in your organization, just because it's so damn costly
Oh, that's
to
true
have
too.
high turnover in an
Yeah.
organization. And if we're trying to help people have freedom, economic freedom is one of those things. And that means we need to run more profitable businesses, right?
Mm.
The more
Yes.
turnover you have, it usually it's an indicator of a couple of things. You probably don't have enough systems in place if you have high turnover, right? It could be that your product is not up to par, and so they're dealing with a lot of guest complaints, right? So there's a lot of things. So if you have a lot of high turnover, you might want to raise your hand and say, "Hey, Dave, hey, Larry, can I get some of your time so we can talk about, what's really going on in the organization?" But high turnover is a lagging indicator that something's going on in your business.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And and we're not talking about when you're the type of leader for your team where they walk over you, do whatever they want so that,
No.
that's like, of course they'd want to stay. I get to do whatever I want. And that's not what we're talking about, right?
No.
It's about thinking from the perspective of, okay, what is in the best interest of the person that's working with us, right? Not
Yeah.
for, right? That's working
Yeah.
with us, and then the organization, right? Looking at those two things and having the right balance. Because I think it is a balance, right?
Yeah, what's coming to mind right now is I can think of like some like college coaches, athletic coaches, right, who
Yeah.
really try to invest in making the student athletes not just great athletes, but great human
Human
beings,
beings. Yeah.
right? And you can think of stories that these people go on and do. They become CEOs and titans of industry, or they become world-class athletes, and they're still talking 30 years later about this coach who invested in them.
Yeah.
Well, business ownership and transformational leadership is very much the same way. I get so thrilled because it happens from time to time. I'll get a Facebook message or I'll get an email or somebody will look me up. Hey, I worked with you 30 years ago. I had it happen. Somebody worked at like the first hotel where I was a general manager and said, oh my gosh, you taught me so much. And here's what I'm doing now. Like they still remember some of the lessons. And that just like fills me up because, now they're married with children and they're teaching the same things I taught to them. There's an obligation that we have for this, but sometimes we're so concerned, Dave, about covering that next payroll, that we forget that there's a bigger mission out there.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are great points. Yeah. And so I think, doing what's in the best interest of your team. Sometimes that means challenging them, getting them to step out of their comfort zone. Right. We've done one of the things that we do regularly is we've done like a lunch and learn, right, or snack and study, and we've got one of our team members. Oh my gosh, he was so uncomfortable doing this, but he put together a presentation and talked about it, and it was actually pretty good. And so I think the level of self-confidence that he got was like, hey, I can do this. I don't have to be stuck where I'm at. I can learn new things. I can get outside my comfort zone and really expand and grow. And so I think it's really good as managers and leaders to challenge our folks in the right way and to push.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that was coming to mind when I was thinking about some of these college athletic coaches, right? Is that part of the story is, this person was really hard on me. This person pushed me. Yeah. I was way outside my comfort zone, but I'm a better person. I was a better athlete because of it. And if you've got team members, now once they're settled in, I'm not talking about pushing them constantly, like standing over them with a whip to get more out of them. I'm talking about pushing them outside their comfort zone as far as developing their skill set that will ultimately boost their confidence. If we're not doing that, we're doing the whole organization a disservice, not just the team member a disservice, but the entire organization. And conversely, if you have team members that don't want to get outside their comfort zone, they're probably not the best people for your organization either. Not in the long term. Yeah, for sure. Right. And that's a different conversation that you have to have with people. It's like, hey, I know this is uncomfortable for you. I know it, but you will be a better professional. You'll be a better person if you stretch, if you allow me to stretch you a little bit. Yeah. But it takes time to have those conversations.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the last point, and then we'll close this up, is the way we show up as leaders. You mentioned positivity, but still having an excitement and a passion for what we're doing, right, in our organization, and people want to work for people who have energy, who are excited about what they're doing, right? And if you are a leader that's not in that mode, your team is going to be, let's say they'll start reflecting you, and they'll eventually want to potentially go somewhere else.
Dave, you're so right. Listen, enthusiasm counts. One of the things I say is you can't light a fire with a wet match. Don't be a wet match.
Yeah.
Okay. Be enthusiastic, be excited. Speak positivity and possibility into your team members. They like that. No one wants a leader who's dour and pessimistic.
Yeah, and that's right. As a leader, it's up to us to keep that fuel going, right?
That's right.
And it doesn't mean we're going to be like that 100% of the time. That's not what we're talking about. There's going to be times where it's like, oh my gosh, and when you talk to your team, you're going to be down. I mean, we're human beings, right? We got to give ourselves a break, but we've got to be responsible and think about, okay, how do I want, I'm leading my team in my meeting this week. How do I want to show up? How would they want me to show up, in that meeting? Right.
That's a great point. Yeah. Good.
All right. Anything else, sir?
No, I think that's good. I think we did well on that one.
Okay. Awesome.
Congratulations to us.
Yeah. Congratulations. Let me give you a pat on the back virtually here, Larry. All right. Well, folks, I'll give you guys a pat on the back virtually, but thanks for joining us today, being with us. It's fun to have you along on this journey with us. And remember, building a team is the way to reclaim your freedom. And we are here to help you. So 3 things we'd love for you to do. We'd really, really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. Number 2, give us a rating, and we'd love to have a 5-star on that. Number 3, though, go to HireMyVA.com for more information on our products, our course. And one of the most powerful things is our community, right? Because it's through that community and how you really are going to learn that even without experience, you can prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. And we're still helping people in there. We'd love to help you grow your organization and really fulfill your vision and your mission for your life and your business. So we want to help you. But for more information, just go to HireMyVA.com for more information. Again.
That's right. Hey, friends, do yourself a favor, do the world a favor. Go do something absolutely significant today. God bless you. God hold you. God keep you. All right, my friends, go get them. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.